Welcome to Jay's Gamepad, everybody, and all my fellow G's and gamers out there, welcome back. Before we get this review started, I just want to make it crystal clear that I have played CYBERPUNK 2077 on the PlayStation 5 on the 1.6 update. I have also put in 110 hours. Yes, I know, that's a lot of hours. That's how much I've actually enjoyed this game. And I ended up picking the Street Kid life path. So with that being said, let's get into the review of CYBERPUNK 2077. CYBERPUNK 2077 was released in 2020 for the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and the PC. This game was developed by CD Projekt Red, a single player open world RPG with a budget of $316 million. And up until this point, this game has made $16.1 million, which is a lot of money, I know. For those that might not be aware, before this game was released, CD Projekt Red was coming off the big success of The Witcher 3, and when they announced this game and they started showing us the trailers and it got closer to release date, they were hyping the fuck out of this game. Now, for someone like myself that is a gamer and that watches anime, I grew up watching a lot of cyberpunk animes like Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Cyber City, Uedo. So I was already sold. I saw one trailer, it was like 45 minutes and I was like, I'm sold. I don't need to see no more, I don't want to hear no more. I love the genre, I grew up on it, I want to play this. So I decided to pre-order this game, and normally I don't pre-order games unless they're collector's edition. But I decided to pull the trigger and just say fuck it, because I wasn't paying £200+ for a collector's edition. So I pulled the trigger. The game got released. I never got the game until 2 days after the release date. I had to sit there online on YouTube watching and listening to other people playing this game, and it was not a good look. Everybody said that this game was broken, this game was fucked up, this game was buggy, this game was unplayable. CD Projekt Red lied to us. How can they charge this money for this game? What the fuck are they doing? Especially if you were playing this game on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. Now, if you're playing it on the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5, you ran into lesser problems. And if you were playing it on the PC, again, you ran into even lesser issues. I decided to say, do you know what, I'm not playing this game. At the time I had a PlayStation 4 Pro, I didn't have a PlayStation 5, so I decided to send the game back. I didn't even open it, I sent it back, I got a refund. Then I said to myself, I'm not gonna play this game, I'm not gonna buy this game and play this game until they fix it and make good on the promises that they promised, and also until I get a PlayStation 5. Now 2 years later, I finally get a PlayStation 5 and they have fixed a lot of this game, so I got to play it, I got to experience it, and yeah, this is a really good game. I can't even lie, this is a really good game. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about the good and bad points when it comes to the story and plot of this game. This game starts off with a selection of 1 of 3 life paths for the character / player named V. You either can pick the Nomad, the Street Kid or the Corpo life path. All these 3 life paths involves you starting a new life in Night City with a local thug called Jackie Wells. That's your brother, your Nakama, your Hinde, your partner in crime. If you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? You basically go on crazy various adventures with a netrunner called T-Bug. That's basically like the crew. Now you come across a local fixer called Dexter Deshawn who hires V and Jackie to steal a biochip known as the Relic. V and Jackie go on this mission and basically they steal the biochip, but everything goes pear-shaped. You end up seeing someone get murdered and the whole hotel, the whole place gets put on lockdown, and you basically got to escape. And in escaping, the casing that the biochip came in gets damaged, and because it gets damaged, V and Jackie end up having to plant the biochip into the cyberware of V's head, and the game basically runs on from there. So the main missions and story in this game is really good, and you've got some side missions that are just as good and fleshed out as the main missions. You get most of your missions through fixers that will leave messages, holo calls, or you will find shards, which are basically notes, which you can track through your journal, and that's really important because this game is massive. There is so many things to do, so your journal is very important. This game also has multiple endings as well as hidden endings, and it doesn't really have a definitive ending. It just depends on what story path or what track or what tree line you decide to go down, which also means that CD Projekt Red can take the story and take this game wherever they want. They have basically endless possibilities. And what I also like, there's a few Easter eggs as well to Cyberpunk Edgerunners anime, which is on Netflix, by the way, so if you haven't watched it, go and check it out because it's really, really good. But there's a few Easter eggs, there's a few gems, there's actually a couple small story side missions where you get a jacket and a gun. I'm not going to spoil anything or say anything else more about that, but I like stuff like that as well. And I think overall, because this is a gritty, dark, big cyberpunk world, like a lot of the stories reflect that, and trust me, you get a lot of like really deep stories, really heart-wrenching stories. You get some really fucked up stories as well. You get a wide range, different types of stories, and yeah, like it's really good and it holds you, and that's the most important thing. Like a lot of the story and the plots and where they take these characters is very interesting, very, very interesting. So yeah, really enjoyed the story and plot. Let's talk about the bad points when it comes to the story and plot of this game. Now, to be honest with you, I don't particularly have any major issues when it comes to the story or the plot of this game at all. Well, apart from one. Now, depending on you as a gamer, it could be a major one or it could be a minor one. Now, I basically saved the game at certain points and made different choices. So I managed to get quite a few endings. And out of the 6 endings that I got, I would say like 3 of them are very unsatisfying. And I was kind of left like, is this the best way to leave or end the game? But again, it just depends on what paths or choices you decide to make in the game. So all of that reflects on what happens at the end. And from what I've seen and what I've been told, there is loads of endings. There is loads of endings in this game. But yeah. Most of the endings that I came across were a little bit lackluster. I was left a little bit feeling unsatisfied, but overall I enjoyed it. And when I got the endings that were a bit more fulfilling, like a bit more satisfying, I had a better experience of the whole game when it came to the story and plot. Again, I just think it just depends on you, what you decide to do, what you choose to do, what paths you decide to go down. It just depends on you. So don't be surprised through your choices that you end up getting some lackluster, unfulfilling ending. I don't know, but overall the story and plot I thought was really good. And yeah, that's basically it. Let's talk about the graphics, art and animation in this game, and let's get into a few good points. Graphically, this game generally looks really, really good, and to be honest with you, I kind of expect it to because I'm playing it on the PlayStation 5. The character customization in this game is really in depth and good, to the point where it lets you customize everything from your sex, shape, size, hair, skin tone and so much more. Even if you wanted to design yourself, you could do that. You could actually do a self insert. You could design and customize your character to look just like you. That is so cool. And we've also got like really cool weather dynamics as well that looks and feels so authentic, with the sun rising and sun setting, raining and the mist and fog, lightning, reflection and the water flowing. This game, from everything, even when you're swimming, this game looks really good. And it needs to, my personal opinion, because Night City is a character within itself. It looks and feels and sounds beautiful, especially at night with the atmosphere of the city lights and the mega hulking buildings with that heavy rain. That is a typical cyberpunk city, and it looks and feels so good. We've got the NPCs and character designs in this game. They all look really, really good. Now let's talk about the bad points when it comes to the graphics and art and animation in this game. I have a few bad points. So some parts of the game look better than others, and when the quality drops you can really see it because the game looks last gen. I'm playing this game on the PlayStation 5. There's certain parts of the game, like for example, you've got in-game cutscenes. You've got some cutscenes that look last gen, and you've got some other cutscenes that look current gen or look really good. And I think that's due to the developers focusing more when it comes to certain parts of the game than others. And I just think across the board, I think the attention to detail wasn't was it like there wasn't a standard? I mean, like there wasn't a standard kept all the way through the game. There's certain points of the game where it looks really, really good, and there's other parts where it just looks, like I said, last gen. So yeah. Also, I also noticed that there was like 70% of the time that Night City doesn't look very populated. At times it feels empty, lacking NPCs and vehicles. Now that's a big problem, because in that cyberpunk genre and the cyberpunk world and the cities, they are very, very heavily populated, to the point where there is people walking on the streets everywhere, and there's also loads and loads of vehicles. And I say this to say, because this game, they've got like mega blocks where people live, because there's so much people that come to this city to live. But the game doesn't really feel like that. Like there's times where you're in certain parts and it's like quite crowded and you see people and loads of vehicles, and there's other parts of the game where it just seems like empty, like a ghost town. And the game should never look and feel empty at all. You should always see loads of people on the streets. You should always see loads of vehicles like in all parts of the city. Yes, there's some parts where it's more condensed and that makes more sense, but when you go outward, you should still see more people, and you should still see that the city looks populated, and it doesn't. Gameplay and system. Let's get into the good points. Now, one of the things that I like about this game is the fact that you start this game off with 3 life paths, with Street Kid, Corpo or Nomad. It's entirely up to you which one you want to pick, and I like that because it brings a certain level of depth to the game. Let's go on. I like the fact that you've got 5 main classes. You've got body, reflexes, technical abilities, intelligence and cool. And within the main classes, you've got 12 subclasses. And so with body, underneath that, you've got athletics, annihilation and street baller. And under reflexes, you've got handguns, blades and assault. And with technical ability, you've got crafting and engineering. And under intelligence, you've got breach protocol and quick hacking. And underneath cool, you've got ninjutsu or cold-blooded. Now this brings you such a level of depth when it comes to the gameplay, and the reason why it does that, yeah, is because through playing this game you get attribute points for the 5 main classes, and you also get perk points which you use for the subclasses. And the max levels that you can level up to in the game is 50, and the max level for your street cred is also capped at 50. So you get a certain amount of attribute points and a certain amount of perk points. So you can't max out all 5 main classes, and you can't max out all the 12 subclasses. You can only pick a few of them, which means that like your character could lean to intelligence, where you're really good at breach protocol and hacking. Could be more aimed at like cool, so all your points go to ninjutsu and cold-blooded. It's entirely up to you how you want to make your character. So I like that depth, I like that level, the fact that you can't max it out all of these classes, because if you could, then your character would just be OP. Also, I love the melee combat and the gunplay in this game. It looks and feels really good, running at a smooth 60. Like I said before, that really helps, especially with FPS games as well. And with a wide range of different handheld weapons, and you got knives and samurai swords and all different guns, from shotguns and assault rifles. Like there are so many guns. You got guns where you can shoot bullets and they bend around corners and stuff like that. Like you can do so much stuff in this game, you know what I'm saying? And your infantry holds all your weapons that you've looted as well, which has a limit, which is really cool as well. So for example, if your character, like, you know, it's got a cap of 100 in terms of the amount of weapons you can hold. But say you got 10 weapons and it actually gets to 100 in terms of weight, your character starts slowing down and starts moving slowly. And I like that because that's realistic, you know what I'm saying? Because if you was holding mad weapons, what would weapons do to you? It would slow you down. So I like that in the game. It brings a certain level of realism. And also you can carry more weight by leveling up and enhancing your cybernetics that allow you to carry more weight. So that's actually really cool as well. You can also update your cyberware or cybernetics by going to many Ripper Doctors around Night City. As long as you got the money and you got the mods to attach to whatever cybernetics that you're upgrading to, you can upgrade it, and that brings another level of gameplay which is really good and fun, especially the Mantis blades. That's just one of many cybernetics or cyberware that you can apply. Also, depending on the main classes and the main subclasses that you decide to spend your limited attribute points or your perk points on, you've got like cyberware mobs as well, where you can equip cybernetics weapons and clothing to bring multiple levels of depth to your style of gameplay as well. Like, it's so deep, this game. Like, this game thought about a lot of things when it came to making your character and making your character a certain way. You can proper mold your character to whatever you want your character to be, or whatever you want your character to specialize in as well. You've also got some of the vehicles that you get for free through the main and side missions, and the other vehicles become available by purchasing them, you know, as they pop up via like messages or holo calls when you're progressing through the story, or side missions that you get from your fixer. So you get a wide range of vehicles that you can drive, and bikes and stuff like that. Like, it's really, really cool as well. There's points in the game where you're actually like, you know, someone's driving and you're actually like at the window and you're shooting as well. I really love that gameplay. I wish they had more of that, to be honest with you. There wasn't that much of it. I think in the game you only do it like 2-3 times. I think that like there should be an option for you to do that more, but that's really, really good. I've really enjoyed that as well. And also at the end of the day, the gameplay and the system, it feels really, really good, which helps to make the game really fun and enjoyable. And that's the main thing. When I play any game, I want to have fun. It needs to be enjoyable, and if it's not, then I'm not interested. With this game, because it's an action RPG, the most important thing to me, it needs to be the story and the gameplay. Everything else is secondary, but the story and gameplay is the most important thing. And the story and the plot in this game is really good, just like the gameplay and the system in this game is really good and in-depth. Now let's talk about the bad points when it comes to the gameplay and the system of this game. Now, the first issue that I have with this game is that I see a lot of NPCs walking around, walking through my characters and walking through other NPCs and solid objects, and it's really annoying because especially when you're in combat, sometimes you will see like the NPC running through each other or running through objects, or like you'd be crouched behind objects and they'd be shooting and the bullets actually go through you. That really annoys me, so that's one thing that like I don't particularly enjoy. Also, sometimes I see NPCs holding weapons and holding items. So for example, if they've got a gun or like a rifle or a shotgun, they'd be holding it and it'd be kind of like not holding it properly, and the gun will be going through their body, and it kind of breaks the immersion and my enjoyment of the gameplay. So that was a little bit like, okay, what's going on with that? Also, if you pay enough money, in-game money, you can reset your perk points. But what's annoying is that you can't reset your attribute points. So for example, your attribute points are related to your main 5 classes. So if you pick 3 classes and you focus on that, and you decided to play the game again with the same character, and you want to like change your main classes, you can't. So you can only reset like your perk points. That's basically your subclass points. So you can change the attributes and the abilities within the subclasses, but you can't change them within the main class, and that's kind of annoying. They should allow you to change the main class as well, especially because right now there isn't a new game plus, so I don't see why they don't do that. And if they do new game plus, I think it would even benefit the game if they opened it up so you can also reset your attribute points as well as your perk points. Also, the cars and vehicles in this game drive like shit. They bounce around, they get stuck in walls, stuck in solid objects, and they are horrible to drive. Most of the cars in this game drive and control like shit. There's one or two that drive okay and they handle okay, but the majority of the cars and vehicles drive like garbage. So the best thing to use when you're like riding about in the city is bikes. Bikes control so good. Bikes are the best thing in this game when it comes to traveling around the city. Cars are horrible. So yeah, they need to fix the mechanics when it comes to the cars. Also, I didn't really come across any major big glitches or bugs apart from one, and it was one time I was riding a bike down one road and all of a sudden the screen went blank. Then me and the bike was high up in the sky and we just literally just fell to our death, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? So that was the only time I experienced a major glitch or bug, to be honest with you. And last but not least, I put in 110 hours into this game, and this game crashed multiple times. To be honest with you, it's probably more than 10 times, but this game crashed at least 10 times. Like, I'm playing on the PlayStation 5. Like, I don't understand why this game is crashing so much. I thought that they patched and fixed a lot of this. So, and the fact that the game is crashing over 10 times repeatedly, back to back, like all the time, is just really, really annoying. So that's something that CD Projekt Red's got to fix. So yeah, that's it for the bad points. Now let's talk about the soundtrack, score, sound effects and voice acting in this game. Let's get into some of the good points. So the soundtrack, score and radio in this game is one of the best things I love about this game. The music here is so good in this game. Like some of my favorite soundtrack music here are like V, The Rebel's Path, Wushu Dolls, Scavenger Hunt and Cyber Wildlife Park. I love them songs, and do you know what? I could go on and on. There's so many others that I really like here, but I'll be here all day or all night telling you. And also I also love the Samurai songs as well. So Samurai is a band that Johnny Silverhand is a part of, and in the game there's like 6 or 7 songs, and out of them songs, like I've got my favorites. I've got like Never Fade Away, the ballad Buck Ravers and Black Dogs. They're like my 3 favorite best songs. I love them songs. I like the other ones, but these are my favorites. And even when we're just talking about the radio as well, like when you're like driving around in your car, listening to the radio, or you're riding your bike, you can listen to music, or even if you're just running around, roaming around the city, you'll come across like radios all over the place, and you'll be playing music, and you can basically turn it off, you can turn it on, you can change the music, and it's so cool, you know what I mean? It's so good. And like some of my favorite radio music as well that I always like wanted to hear while I was playing the game was like No Save Point, Black Terminal Upgrade, Pop on Shit, Violence, Who's Ready for Tomorrow, and I Really Want to Stay at Your House. I love them songs. Them songs were so cool, so good. The soundtrack and the radio music is really good, and it fits the tone and the feel of this game. It reflects the multicultural people living in this futuristic cyberpunk mega city. Like the music reflects all of that, so it's really good. And especially the combat music as well. I love the combat music. The combat music in this game is so good. It gets you hyped up, it gets you into the combat. I love it, and got that sound, it's got that feeling, and they really pull it off. Like they really do a good job of it. The sound effects of the world as well, of Night City, the weapons, the machines, the combat, all the sounds, they sound very good and authentic. They bring another level of depth and immersion to the game experience, to the gameplay, to just being in this world, just being in the city. Like I said before, like this city is a character within itself, and part of that character is portrayed through the sounds and the music of this game as well. And last but not least, all the voice actors in this game did a good job when it came to voice acting the main characters, side characters, or even some of the NPCs. Like they're actually quite funny. Like they're all top tier, like no issues with that. And I love Keanu Reeves. The fact that I get to like hear Keanu Reeves, I get to see and hear him in the cyberpunk world, that's a bonus. You can't go wrong. So yeah, they're all the good points. Now let's talk about the bad points when it comes to the soundtrack, score, sound effects and voice acting. Now to be honest with you, I have 2 issues, and that is that, for example, when I'll be talking to another character or watching a cutscene or talking to another NPC, I noticed that the voice and lip syncing will go out of sync quite a lot, and that was a bit, I don't know about that. And also, I came across a lot of delayed sound effects. So for example, if I saw a car smash into a wall, I wouldn't hear anything. Then a few seconds later, I would hear the car smashing into the wall, but the car's already smashed into the wall. So you would get a lot of delayed sound effects, and that kind of ruined my experience a little bit, especially again when it came to certain cutscenes and certain points of the game. So, but apart from that, like, yeah, I don't really have any major issues when it comes to soundtrack, score, sound effects or voice acting in this game. Final thoughts. What are my final thoughts? Do you know what, yeah? When I finished playing this game, I started thinking about the same things that I always think about when I play and finish any game. Was this game fun? Was it enjoyable? Does it have replayability? Does this game have New Game Plus? Or does it even have a multiplayer mode? Am I likely to pick this game up 6 months down the line and replay it? And I started thinking even more like, well, this game doesn't have a New Game Plus. This game doesn't even have a multiplayer mode, but I am likely to pick up this game and replay it 6 months down the line. Then I started thinking even deeper about this whole New Game Plus thing. Now, this game doesn't have New Game Plus in the traditional sense, but there is a New Game Plus kind of in this game. CD Projekt Red was gracious enough and quite clever enough to allow you to go back to your last save point before the point of no return with end game items. So that's kind of New Game Plus, I guess. Also, you've got 3 life paths to choose from when you start the game. And you have 5 main classes, 12 subclasses, which you can never max out. You can't max out any of these main classes and subclasses in one playthrough. It just won't allow you to do it. Which means that you get to go back from the beginning and you could play as Corpo or Nomad if you played as Street Kid before. You know, different path, different experiences, different endings. This game's got multiple endings and secret endings as well. So this game, many reasons for you to want to pick it up. This game is a AAA quality game. It just is. This game has good plot, good story, and good character development. This game is graphically really good, and it has really good gameplay. This game has a godlike soundtrack and score. I love the music in this game. Like I can't tell you enough how much I love the music. Overall, this game is really enjoyable. It's really fun. I had a good time playing it. And last but not least, we've got Cyberpunk Edge Runners anime that CD Projekt Red and Trigger gave to us, which is on Netflix. After you listen to this, go and watch it on Netflix. The anime is so good. It's a prequel story. It fleshes out the world of Cyberpunk 2077. It fleshes out the world and the character that is Night City. And also, we're getting a Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty expansion coming in 2023, giving you even more reasons to want to keep on playing this game or revisiting this game. This game is fun, this game is enjoyable, I had the blast, I had a good time, and this is now going to be my new go-to game when I just want to play around in the world of Cyberpunk, in an open world, and have fun. I love this game, I really do. Such a good game. Final score. What is my final score? I gotta keep it 100. I gotta keep it real. I gotta stay authentic. This game, I have to give this game a very strong 8.5 out of 10 with a strong recommendation to buy and keep this game, especially if you've got the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. This game is so good. Highlighted in my final thoughts. Yes, there's things they can work on. There's things that we've got to look forward to. But this game is such a good game. You can pick this game up for £10 to £15/dollars. This game is quality. This game is such a good game. And I strongly believe that if this game got released in this condition back in 2020, this game probably would have been a strong contender for Game of the Year. This is a really good game. I love this game. 8.5 out of 10. Go and pick it up. That's my final score. I hope you enjoyed my review of Cyberpunk 2077. If you did, please like and subscribe and hit the bell notification if you like man's content or any of my content. You can also hit me up on the socials, Twitter, Instagram and Twitch, Jay's Gamepad across the board. You ain't got to tap, press anything else but that. And also if you want to find me or hit me up on PlayStation, my gamer name is MrGhostProtocol. So I guess I will see you and speak to you real soon.